I can at least say for me, I'm back. I am excited to say that I'm back in the world of internet. I'm
back as well.
That is true. That is true. Bitteritz and myself have been on a vacation. We were out in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. We're going to be sharing a little bit of the things that we purchased while in the state of New Hampshire. But LordCash, it is wonderful to see you right now. How are you doing?
It's good to see you. The last time we were on a video, it was just the voice of God coming through my computer. So it's good to see you as well. Outside of that, I am doing wonderful. I've got my Talk Nerdy to Me shirt from the Fanboy Expo. So I figured, New York Nerd Show, Talk Nerdy to Me. All that, Pat.
Well, then, I will be talking nerdy to you quite a bit. Today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys five video games that I picked up over the week in New Hampshire. Four of them are retro, and one of them is actually a relatively new game. So what would you like me to start with today, LordCash? The current or take us back to the past?
Let's go chronological, oldest first.
Oldest first. All right.
I was going to say, yeah, let's just go that way.
Okay. So the first game I picked up in New Hampshire was a game called, you probably heard of the game, I would imagine, Chuck Rock on the Sega Master System. Now, are you familiar with the game Chuck Rock?
I honestly cannot. I've thrown a rock, but I've never Chuck Rock.
Chuck Rock was a series. There is actually there was two of them on multiple consoles back in the early 1990s. It basically was definitely a 16-bit era series. I was actually pretty surprised to see this one because I own Chuck Rock 1 and 2. I own them on the Sega Genesis, the Sega CD, and I may have one on the Sega Game Gear. I'm not 100% positive, but that's your main character, Chuck Rock, right there. What I was not aware of. So, by the way, this guy's awesome. He does Chuck Rocks, as his name would imply. He also, one of his main moves is a belly bump. He actually just smacks his belly. He has he says like "unga bunga." It's very animated, very fun game. I'll have to show it to you sometime as far as footage. Well, the reason why I picked this game up is twofold. One, it's for the Sega Master System. This was Sega's answer to the original Nintendo. I was unaware this got released on the Sega Master System, quite honestly, and I picked it up because it is a PAL region game.
Nice.
Yeah, PAL is European, and from what I understand, I could be wrong, but the Sega Master System was not region locked, meaning you could play games from any country on your American system. I'm going to go upstairs in a little bit and find out I'm wrong. But at some point I'll be able to play it one way or another, and I'm just curious to see how it relates to the actual Genesis or Sega CD version. Definitely do suggest the Chuck Rock series just for its humor and overall gameplay. It's not a bad game, and they've not brought this series back. And I don't know if they really will, completely honest with you. Most gamers are like yourself, and they really don't know much about Chuck Rock.
I'm sure there's a take it for granted, joke in there somewhere.
There definitely is. The next game I picked up was actually for the Atari Jaguar. Now, just the console itself. Yeah, are you familiar with the Jaguar?
No. I may have heard of it, but it's the bells are not ringing.
So Atari Jaguar was the first technically official 64-bit console. It was released in 1994. And basically, it was Atari's first home console since the Atari, 2600 era. And so it worked with a premise of do the math, where they would kind of talk about how, all the other bits, the 16-bit era of the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, they couldn't add up to be 64 bits of the Jaguar. Problem with the Atari Jaguar was that it was not easily to develop for. A lot of games that came on, it looked like a mess. There were some really terrible games for this system. A couple, though, that were pretty decent. This game right here was actually one of the launch titles where the system came out. Some people actually got this for free with their console. It's called Trevor McFur and the Crescent Galaxy. Oddly enough, I have never seen this game out in the wild, and I collect for the for the Atari Jaguar, and I don't know how I've never seen it. So when I saw at this one random shop, I think it was called Gamer Exchange. I had to pick it up, and it was $20, which is actually a pretty good price because I keep saying Sega here. The games are very uncommon, and with the with the pandemic and everything else, a lot of games have been going up in price, including this one. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not exactly no one's seeking these games out. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but just seeing it there, it was pretty good. And what's funny is the guy, when he scanned it, it had gone up another $30, and he actually charged me that price at first, and I got it to get reversed. But I really was thinking some stores that we go to, they will simply they will look it up and they'll reprice it right in front of you. Thankfully, this gentleman did not do that, and I ended up with a new Atari Jaguar game. And maybe at some point, I can go through some Atari Jaguar games like I was doing for Sega Saturn. But yeah, I suggest LordCash, anybody else watching, to kind of look up some of these games. Especially there's one called Kasumi Ninja with a K. Definitely suggest that one. It is quite the special fighting game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, this is like a flying game, kind of like a Star Fox, so to speak. Were there any like shooting flying games that you can ever remember playing growing up, or even as an adult?
When it came to flying and shooting, I really didn't specialize too much in those. The biggest one was Top Gun on Nintendo. That was the big one for me. That I always played that one a lot.
But you actually you played that.
Yeah.
Were you able? Do you recall? Were you able to actually land the plane? Because that was always one of like the jokes that you could never land the plane.
I thought I did. Yeah, I feel like I did.
Yeah, I mean, you may. I mean, I was never able to, but at the same time, I was terrible in any kind of flying game. I'd always get like very discombobulated, right? Because like I didn't know, like there were some that you could actually totally spin the plane around, and I just had no clue.
Right.
Whereas Trevor McFur, I think the side-scrolling shooting game. I was just looking at those photos. I didn't even know what the game was. That's the things I always heard about it, but I never had a chance to play it. So I'm excited to check that out.
Yeah, I enjoy the shooting games of the duck hunt type where you actually have the gun, like the arcade, like House of the Dead, the various ones. Like I went last week to a bar arcade here in town, and they had like your old school arcade games. So I was playing like the Terminator game, Operation Wolf, was playing those where you've got like the machine gun that you're shooting at, and of course they had House of the Dead. And I just love playing those where you actually stand and you actually, do your you pull the trigger type of thing versus actually, doing it with a D-pad.
Right.
So
yeah, it's funny. You and I would know about this. I don't know if we have any proof of it. We can, insert it in here. But remember the photo of me with the duck hunt gun with a light scope on it?
If you gave me 5 minutes, I can find it on my computer.
Well, maybe we can add it on here. I know I have the CD that we put it on somewhere in the house. So same thing. I might be looking at it right now. I'm going to show the next games dual. I'm going to show both of them at the same time. I collect Nintendo 64, and maybe you guys do as well. Nintendo 64 had a library of about 212 games. I'm probably off by a little bit, but not a ton. And I got into the collecting for the system about 8 years ago, I would say. I mean, I always collected for it because I enjoyed it, but I a bit of writs in myself. Okay, so I kept stopping at this rental place that was about 30 minutes from where I lived. And this rental place was stuck in time. You could go in there and they were literally renting VHS tapes and they were renting Nintendo 64 games. And this was, like I said, 8 years ago or so. So it was 15 years after the console had basically been closed up. So in this store, they had like the whole wall of Nintendo 64 games and other things. And I asked the guy, I'm like, I'd love to buy them, and he didn't want to. And one day he got a hold of me and he said, "You're the gentleman that wants the video games, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah. If you want them, I'm going to sell them, but you have to buy all of them." And I'm like, "Okay, how much?" $3 each. And these are like complete games. He goes, "Yep, you got to buy them all." I hopped in my car. I couldn't have drove faster to get there. And so I cleared them out. I bought every game. And then I also, because I was buying everything, he let me get some stuff out of his back room.
Nice.
Mwah, wonderful experience. So because of that, I ended up with a lot more N64 games than I even thought I could get. So once I did that, I figured, you know what, I'm going to go for the full set. I did unfortunately sell some games over the time between now and then, which sucks because it makes it I have to get those back. Bottom line is, the reason why I'm telling this long story is I picked up 2 of the final games that were released for the console. And thankfully right now, they're not incredibly valuable. They're not like super cheap either, but they're sports games. And again, I don't collect the sports games in general, but these 2, when you see like the dates on there, Madden 2002, and then you see NBA in the Zone 2000. Then by the time 2000 rolled around in 2002, Nintendo had already moved on to the Nintendo GameCube. And PlayStation 2 and Xbox, they were already in full swing. So these games were released on a dead console. So there was not very many of them made. And because it's sports and everybody does sports games, that made these quite uncommon. As a matter of fact, this game right here, if you find it with the box and everything else, literally sells for hundreds of dollars.
Nice.
So when I grabbed this one, I didn't recognize it until I saw my boy Patrick Ewing on the cover. I had to pick it up, and it wasn't that bad. And then Madden 2002, great condition for both of these. I grabbed them just to put them on the shelf in my collection, so that way in a year or two, when I'm actually trying to finish up the set, I'm not like, oh my God, where's NBA in the Zone 2000? Because those are the ones that you get stuck on because nobody's thinking about those, and those are the sleeper games. Not to have stores, if they ever have to, they actually get rid of some of those consoles, some of those games sometimes because they're worthless. So I don't know if you were looking. Were you able to find a photo?
No, I would need more time.
No problem. So that'd be a great picture. I had these like crazy sideburns back then too.
Oh yeah.
All right. Final game. This is going to be up your alley for sure, LordCash. Especially one of your loves being Marvel, the Marvel Universe.
Very nice.
Now, I have been looking for this game. It's easy to find, don't get me wrong, but I picked up Iron Man Virtual Reality on the PlayStation 4, brand new. Now, I am a big fan of the PlayStation VR headset. They integrate it very well in video games themselves, but also in apps. You can actually watch hockey in the PSVR. You can watch wrestling. I think baseball. Right now, those experiences are like chopped up into sections, segments. You don't technically watch the whole game, but it's pretty cool. Bottom line, it's a great headset. Games on it are also very good. Don't know how this one is, to be honest with you, but when I saw it as a packing game for newer bundle for the system, I wanted to get it. So about a couple weeks ago, I actually saw what I thought was going to be a sale for it on clearance, on used. I went to go pick it up. It was mispriced, so didn't get it. Well, I walk into a random Walmart in New Hampshire. This guy was on clearance for $11, brand new.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't pass this up. I don't know if I'm going to play it right away, but I definitely will when I hook up my VR again because once I get into the VR and different segments, I can't stop playing it. It's very cool. Again, I don't believe you've played the VR, correct?
I have not. I want to say that I have like maybe the demo that I downloaded from the PlayStation Store, or it was one of the free downloads for the month. I don't know if I actually got the game itself or it was just a demo, but I feel like that's on one of the icons when I scroll through on my PlayStation 4.
Yeah, there were 2 PSVR demos that I was aware of. At least that I have, and one was free on the store. One you actually had to buy for a couple bucks. The demos alone, they really should sell you on the console, on the headset. Be honest with you. You'll either know if you like it or not. it's a huge step up from the virtual reality we had in the 1990s, or that we had at Disney Quest. I remember the Mighty Ducks pinball or whatever, or maybe something separate. I'm combining. They had
there was your Aladdin that actually had your headset.
Yep.
Then of course you had the other headset was the Ride the Comics.
Okay.
And then I think the Alien Encounter was just was goggles.
Yeah.
And then the Pirates of the Caribbean had 3D glasses.
Yeah. So they
had your submersive your screens around you.
Yeah, that immersive technology has really come a long way, and the VR headset, I believe, is $200. It may have gone down. I don't know. I know it's just, I don't know. If you have the money, if you have the time, it is well worth it. You don't need a ton of space like a Kinect. You do need some space for the camera to pick you up, but that's not even as restricting as the Xbox Kinect was. And the Kinect was pretty cool. But this is what I did at my last journey out into the wild in New Hampshire. Again, just as a review, I picked up Iron Man on the PlayStation 4, the VR version. I have the Batman one too, and I'm going to try it pretty soon. Chuck Rock on the Sega Master System. Trevor McFur and the Crescent Galaxy on the Atari Jaguar. And NBA in the Zone 2000 and NFL Madden 2002 on the N64. Again, uncommon games other than Iron Man, and I was excited to check them out. So until next time, LordCash, what are some of the other shows that we can watch on the New York Nerd Show Network?
Well, let's see. We've got today being Sunday, we are doing Call of the Wild. That is one show that you're able to watch. Let's go and run through the rest of the week. We've got Monday, Crazy Card Collecting. Tuesday, Slam Nation Wrestling. Wednesday, we might be able to see some of these games that AllThatPat purchased in the game room. Thursday is iStream, Ustream. Friday, Funko Royalty. And then, of course, round out the week is Saturday, Mail Call, Mail Time. We do ask that you like and subscribe to this channel. Click on the notifications because in case we do any special shows throughout the week, you'll get notified of that. And, of course, spread the word of the nerd. Share us with your family and friends. You can watch us over on Facebook, Twitch, or on YouTube. We've got almost 250 videos over on YouTube that we have curated over the past year or so. So definitely check us out there. There's hopefully something in our catalog of repertoire that tickles your fancy, and you're able to watch all those videos accordingly.
We'll be doing some tickling of fancies. All right. Yeah, it's like LordCash says, until next time, thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode. Adios, everybody.